Wanted to take a quick minute since I guess we're set up. I guess we don't have to go. I was going to go over the patch log or the change notes before we go into game two. Or sorry, let's start with King. If the dead outnumber the living, it was no more. Each night, if the dead equal or outnumber the living. So basically, the way we've been running it historically for like a year and a half now. I think it's the best way. It's just the King was just not really doing a whole lot. I think that little push made a big difference.
I mean, we were always running it that way anyway. Like that was the officially endorsed alternative rule, but it is nice to have that actually worked into the ability too.
Yep. Goblin rulebook entry, I appreciate they're getting the DPD characters, their rulebook entries. We're not going to mention the one rulebook entry that everyone is looking for, though. We're just going to skip past that before something bad happens.
Just one day.
God damn it. I was hoping we didn't even acknowledge it. Jinxes. Let's talk about the Pit Hag one, because you and I have been talking about this for a long time. Pit Hag jinxes now make it so that flippers can't flip back to good. So cult leader, goon, politician, if an evil player is turned into those things, they cannot go back. So like if you turn a fellow minion into a cult leader or a goon or a politician, they are not going to flip back to good from their own ability and sell out the evil team, which
right
should have been the case to begin with, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the previous Pit Hag politician jinx was just that they couldn't make an evil one. And so we've sort of been waiting for a while now for that jinx to either get applied to the other alignment changers or to for it to be something like this, right? Where you can make them, but they're just going to stay evil for the rest of the game, which is sort of like the ruling that I tended to go with personally as a house rule is like, if I'm either going to follow rules as written that you can't just make an evil poly, or if you make an evil alignment flipper, you're just staying evil. So I'm kind of really happy to see that what I was doing already with Pit Hag alignment flippers, making evil ones, just be worked in as an actual jinx.
It's almost like you have a really good grasp of how this game should be run.
Almost.
Politician Vizier. The politician might register as evil to the Vizier. Woo! Okay. I have thoughts on this one. I like it. I think that it makes it so that Politician Vizier is a little bit more not awful. I don't know how much I trust certain storytellers to actually be judicious about whether or not they're going to register them as evil or not, which I know is not a problem with the jinx per se, but I think that this can open up for a feels bad, I think, if handled incorrectly, and that's what I'm worried about. But that being said, I get it. I get the idea of trying to make it so that these two can work together.
Yeah. I definitely think that it can help alleviate like the The problem with it is, of course, that it's just very straightforward, right? A politician with a vizier in the game just votes on every single execution and lets the vizier kill whomever they want until town can't execute a demon at all. And then how can you really argue the politician doesn't get a flip? So
Yeah,
allowing it to potentially misregister, it means that, yeah, a politician is technically still incentivized to go ahead and just vote for everything, but it won't automatically mean that evil just gets to, coast. So it definitely smooths out that interaction a bit.
That's fair, J-Bro. I guess it's not that bad of an idea. I'm going to skip the Damsel Jinxes for a second. I'm going to go to the Summoner Jinxes. So most of these are...
I do agree with that. That it's... The feels bad is just sort of inherent in politician, to be honest. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I do agree.
Pretty straightforward on the Hatter, Kazali, and Pit Hag, because they're the exact same, which is that the summoner cannot create an in-play demon, but if the summoner creates a not-in-play demon, deaths tonight are arbitrary. So basically, you get a Pit Hag arbitrary death knight if the summoner decides that they want to make a demon, specifically one that's not already in play. That caveat is important.
Yeah, I really like these. To be honest, I like pretty much all of the summoner jinxes that they've made here. But these make what was previously just thought of as like, wow, these are just bad interactions into, yeah, okay, we can work with that.
Yeah,
I do think that it is worth noting that these kinds of interactions, they do give evil the opportunity to be a +1 evil.
Hmm.
because they can make a summoner that makes a fourth player an evil demon.
Yep.
And yes, that's fixed by the arbitrary deaths, but it's very important to keep in mind that these interactions can now give you a +1 evil, so you need to be aware of that when you're putting them with certain other abilities that would also add extra evils in the game. So, maybe they don't belong on scripts with other alignment changers at all anymore.
Right. Um, Engineer, we can skip right past because the engineer did not get an asterisk in this patch, and fuck the engineer. I don't really care at this point. No, but if the engineer removes the summoner from play, they get to use it immediately so that they don't just become a non-player at that point. And the engineer doesn't just
Hmm.
make it so that the team just wins. You know, like
Yeah.
it was a terrible interaction before. It was just so this makes it a lot nicer. Likewise, the Pucka one, I love this one.
Yeah, me too.
I think this is just perfect. It's such a harmonious execution of the problem of just, oh, what do you do because now there's a fourth night of no death, or there's a third night of no deaths. Well, no, you now get a Pucka to actually get picked on the second night, which is so I really like that. I think that makes it very harmonious, and likewise the Zomboul one also I love. I think it's intuitive. It's, what is the purpose of making a Zomboul? Well, you can make a good player into or a live player into the Zomboul, but wouldn't it be really fucking cool if you could just make a dead player into the Zomboul?
Yeah, I do think that's pretty fun. I have heard some like varying opinions on the Puka Summoner because they get to go on night 2 instead of night 3. There's some people who feel like that's not like it's not what the role does, but personally, I really love it. I think that it keeps to the spirit of the character, right? The intention of the summoner, and with the vast majority of demons, what happens with the summoner is on night 3, you make a demon who then gets to act and cause a kill. Well, the Puka's not going to cause a kill. So if you allow them to make the puka on night 2, you get the intention there, which is that there is going to be a death on night 3. The trade-off is that the summoner has to act earlier. The earlier the summoner acts, the sooner people can start doing things like getting a read on the demon, or
Chambermaid,
um,
as Rope mentioned.
the less the summoner might know about the game. So maybe they can't pick a player who would be like the quote unquote best one to actually pick for them, right? So I think that this Jinx really keeps the actual intention and the spirit of the role, that the demon gets to kill on night 3 alive, because while the Puka might act on night 3, it doesn't kill on night 3 unless you get it a night earlier. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I just think that putting those two together just opens up so many options for Summoner that just weren't there when the character was released. And that's just great for script building
Yeah,
in
for sure.
general. The Courtier Summoner Jinx is basically just, oh, if you're drunk, you still get an ability and you don't just lose the game immediately, but you don't get perfect ability. You basically get like half of your ability. You're like half drunk. You're
Yeah.
buzzed on night 3, you know. You get to do something, but you don't get to do everything. So the storyteller gets to choose who the player is, who becomes the demon, but you do get to choose the demon so that you know which one to look for. Um, and then the Riot one, I'll be honest, I thought this was already a Jinx. I'm very surprised that this was in the patch notes because when we were at Clocktower Con, we played. I got confused because we played a Legion summoner script that Alejo played called Road to Easily, Shout to Dark Souls, and it was a Legion riot or Legion summoner script. So on night 3, the summoner made Legion, or maybe it was Riot. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it
Well,
was Riot.
Summoner Riot did have a Jinx. It was just a different Jinx.
What was the Jinx before?
It was that the summoner had to choose one of their living neighbors or something like that, and all evils became uh,
Oh, it's
Riot.
specifically minions that become Riot. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and they also had to pick like a neighbor, whereas now they don't.
Oh, I like this. I like this better now. Now that I'm realizing that. Yeah, this is better. We might as well talk about the damsel jinxes. So damsel and peekers, so spy and widow. If the spy has been, if the spy or widow has been in play, the damsel is poisoned. Period.
I don't really like these Jinxes,
I
but
don't. I don't either.
they're fine. They open up different plays in different ways, and having them hate Jinx does. I prefer the hate Jinx personally, Not everybody does. It's fine.
I think that, so I understand the desire. The desire is get it so that a player or that characters can have as many possible chances to interact and be on the same script together as possible. Big fan of that philosophy. I think that's a good philosophy to have. However, I understand we're going from 0% of possible worlds to like 2% of possible worlds in which you can put the characters on a script and have them be and play together. I just don't even want to have these characters and play together. I just don't like it. I get it. I get the concept behind it. But yeah, I'm with Hallow. I'm with you. I did prefer when they were just hate jinxed, and it was just if you knew that there's a spy in play, then there wasn't a damsel in play. If the damsel was in play, you knew you didn't have to worry about a spy or a widow.
Right.
Yeah. And then lastly, teensies now can have two demons, or should I say, teensies should have two demons. And
I don't think should is the correct phrasing.
okay, so walk me through that, because that's how I interpret this change.
I mean, do you think that all full-size scripts should have 4, or is it okay to have scripts that have a 1, 2, or 3 demons on it? The reality is it's saying that like the standard is now 6 to 2 up to 2 instead of just being strictly held at 1.
Okay, so basically,
like the count is always up to X and not must be X, and if it's not X, then it's weird. Like,
so you read it as townsfolk, outsiders, minions. Basically, that is the set amount that you should be, but demons is kind of up to.
and that's sort of always been the case. It's just that teensy scripts have always been capped at 1 before, and now they can be capped at 2.
As a writer of many award-winning, citation needed, Teensyville scripts, I can tell you that this does open up a lot of opportunities. I don't know if I would want to write a teensy that has 2 demons on it, but the thing is, like you said, I don't necessarily have to. So maybe it's okay. I think the idea...
It's fine.
Yeah, I think the idea of if it's not arbitrary and it says that it has to be 2 demons, I'm fine with this change. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Anyway, those are the changes.